Hello, everyone. This is Callie Beard of KarmicTools.com, and this is your weekly forecast for October 16th to the 22nd of 2022. We have a bit of a tag team going on with Sun and Venus being so close together. So Sun hits Mars, then Venus hits Mars. Sun hits Pluto, then Venus hits Pluto. And then Sun and Venus get together. And that's a very magical and special activation. And we close out the week with Saturn going direct in Aquarius for the final time. By March of next year, it'll be moving into Pisces. So, deep breath. We start off on Monday the 17th with Sun trining Mars. This is a powerful energy for solidifying who you are, what you want, and what you're capable of. It brings out your desire to be truly self-sustained and independent. And with the good angle between Sun and Mars, you are deeply supported for forward movement that feels almost effortless when you are grounded and aligned with your own truth and purpose. If you are not clear about who you are and what your purpose is, this energy will inspire you to find out. If you are already on track and crystal clear, then this energy strongly supports progress and evolution to the next level in obvious ways. It's a great time for physical activities that bring you joy and get your juices flowing. You should review with gratitude all the goals that you have accomplished thus far and begin deciding what you can finish up in preparation for what's coming. You are truly being prepared for your future. Use this great energy to ground that intent consciously and with a vote from your heart and soul. Deep breath. Monday, Sun hits Mars. Tuesday, Venus hits Mars. In a trine, ease and grace, these are blessings. Venus rules your values and priorities where your relationship with love and money are concerned. It is the sacred feminine within that innately knows how to co-create with nature and what to cultivate and nurture to full development. Mars rules your desire nature and your inner sacred masculine, which is responsible for getting your ideas into the world, maintaining your personal boundaries, and negotiating on your own behalf. When both are channeling through you in a balanced way, like now, what you create and how you move through the world becomes a beautiful dance, or at least a much more interesting story. The trine is a blessing of ease and grace, an easygoing energy that paves the way for balance and reciprocity and encourages independence within the context of relationships. Communication is usually smooth at this time, and exchanges can be mutually beneficial. Any relationships started under this influence have a good chance at success, whether personal or professional. Deep breath. So we have this ease and grace, this awakening. This is the clarity that comes after the Mercury retrograde, especially within that context of you, the individual, within your relationships and communities and things. Now that's ease and grace with Mars. Now there's a challenge to Pluto, and it's Libra to Capricorn. And so it's something we do annually with these planets. So now Wednesday, the 19th, Sun will square Pluto. This is a challenge to grow out of your comfort zone and into new territory. That said, with Pluto in Capricorn, 2008 to 2024, twice a year for these 16 years when the Sun is in Aries in the spring and Libra in the fall, we get an opportunity to grow and change in the fundamental departments of life, which is self versus other and home versus work. In this case, and during these years, we are literally changing how we do all of this. Each year builds on the previous, and we are now 14 years into a 16-year process of transformation. This is an incredibly potent point in time and space. It is here that we have the most information to consciously work with as we prepare for the next 20 years in Aquarius. Deep breath. Sun helps us clarify, and when working with Pluto, it is usually what is not working, what has run its course and is ready to be composted into new life, new growth, and a new direction for self. Pluto is the purifier, distilling things back to their true and original essence. Fight that, and it can be painful. Work with it consciously, and it can be transformative. It can also facilitate a healing at the deepest root of any challenge. You can use this activation to honor that which has become obvious or is highlighted in the here and now, and purge or purify this energy. You are deeply supported for releasing old patterns and setting new conscious practices into action. Tie up loose ends, close multiple chapters, mourn if you must, and move on. As you do that, you will feel lighter and brighter and more grounded in your true self, your evolved self. Deep breath. We are all undergoing a major transformation from Pluto in our Capricorn departments. And like I said, twice a year in Aries Libra is when we have to really grow. And it's not always a bad thing. Squares are 90-degree angles. They stabilize things. They help us build muscle. So that's Wednesday. Then Thursday the 20th. So first the Sun squares Pluto, then Venus. So here's our tag team. Sun lights it up. It has a lot to do with us shifting our identity. And then our values shift. So as we transform this new purpose and what we're, let's say, expressing out in the world these days, then the values have to change as well. So Thursday the 20th, Venus square Pluto, this activation brings intensity and it challenges you to grow out of comfort zone into new territory, especially where your relationships and finances are concerned. It creates very intense emotional responses and experiences with others that tend to trigger insecurities or hidden fears in one or both of you. Stability is not part of the equation at the moment, so prepare for inevitable change. You've probably already felt it coming, the shift in your relationship or financial situation. Well, it's here now, so you can be proactive on your own behalf, or you can suffer the consequences of postponing the inevitable. You may have heard me say, pay now or pay double later. That applies to this transit too. The natural reaction may be to try to hold on to the job or relationship, but try not to give in to that temptation. Pluto intensifies everything, and the more you resist the necessary purification and change that Pluto brings, the more painful it usually is. It is better to clarify your values and priorities and choose change rather than have it forced upon you, which can be Pluto's way, right? Either way, once the dust settles, you should be better off because things either change for the better or go away altogether, making room for something new and more in alignment with your values and priorities of now. Okay, deep breath. Remember, Pluto never takes away anything that hasn't run its course and isn't done, toxic or dead or unnecessary, the non-essential only. The true essence of your soul, which is also Pluto's department, stays intact always. But it can feel very much like shedding a skin. What I find interesting is we get this beautiful recalibration with the masculine feminine and this kind of clarity before we go into those challenges to the identity and the values. Right as Sun conjuncts Venus on Saturday, October 22nd. This is special because this only happens twice in her 18-month cycle, and we just had a call about this. But in general, this activates your innate creativity and gets your wheels turning about what you want to express or bring to life in the world, what you want to invest in and be a part of. When Venus contacts the Sun, it is all about your creations. However, here, as the Sun contacts Venus, the creativity is centered around you, the individual, and your purpose. Use this solar infusion to brighten and illuminate yourself, your surroundings, and/or your creative projects. This expands and brightens your magnetic field, and opportunities that are just right for you are usually the result. There is a burst of new energy wanting to be expressed through you, and it's based on your new values and priorities. It's also the beginning of a new cycle of the many ways that we express ourselves and make our unique contribution to the world through our outer self, reputation, or public persona. It's time to lead in a new way. Lead your life and lead others. Deep breath. So like I said, this is a special activation. We are also at the midpoint of the current Venus cycle, whose theme is Capricorn and Libra. So look for your emergent self to start stepping up and into a new center of power and a new sense of self in new and different ways. It is time to connect with your higher purpose, larger goals, and new ambitions for the future. You've cleared and released blockages to your old structures, purpose, roles, and responsibilities through Capricorn and throughout 2022, so that you can now initiate new relationships, partnerships, and collaborations with this Libra theme going into 2023. You have renewed access to your higher consciousness, and now you are tapping into your individual purpose and place in the world. Since you've shed the past and the constructs that held it in place, and released some obsolete ways of building stability within self and community with others, now you can open to all new kinds of experiences, new levels of balancing the internal mother and father, or feminine and masculine, your inner authority, and how you get anything done. Deep in your heart, what do you want to be known for here and now? Also, you can reflect on 2013-14, which was the last Venus cycle in Capricorn with a Scorpio midpoint back then, which is really deep. This time's 29 degrees Libra, and last time was 1 degree Scorpio. So in the very same zone, we caught up and reset some things that ran their course in that 8-year period to now. So now we're setting another 8-year period in place between 22 and 2030-ish. So I've linked everything in here next to this activation because it is special and it was our guiding activation for the community Zoom I just did on October 13th. So you can request the replay here. There's a link to the Venus Circle if you'd like to drop in monthly. We gather for a sign and a chakra to do what we've done is the last 9 months of release work, and now we're about to do 9 months of reclamation, and it's going to get real juicy. The Venus article is great to review at the midpoint because it lets you know kind of where you're at, and it has all the bullets lists of light and shadow that we're working with and see how far you've come since we've done all that release work. And of course, the Venus Reading and Custom Guide will support you throughout. And this is a great time to get it because it will support you with all your personal Venus activations for the whole cycle. It will cover you for the next 9 months, and it will give you access to the archives to the last 9 months should you be the kind of tracker that likes to go back. And finally, I've linked the YouTube video of Cinnamon and I talking about the Venus Reading and Custom Guide because it really helps to hear a perspective from other people working it. You know, working it with the book, following Venus, and doing it in your own unique way because there is no right or wrong. The idea is not to add to your list of things to do, but to really help you understand certain aspects of self so that you're making better choices. You know, Venus keeps us locked in on our values and priorities, and it really helps because the social collective is kind of off on its own little tangent right now. And so we need all the help we can get to stay grounded in truth and purpose and our own sense of self and security that we're developing. So all kinds of tools to support that. You know I'm all about it. So reach out if you need to, or if you've got a lot of Libra or Taurus, Venus-ruled planets, then it gets really good following her cycle. Or if you're just really into the sacred feminine and wanting to stick to your own priorities, that's another reason that the workbook and the circle is really helpful, especially for my trackers. But even my non-trackers, which is why it was great talking to Cinnamon about it, she flies by the seat of her pants, but then she goes and opens her guide and she's like, oh yeah, I did that, and she still gets validated. So I love it. You can do it either way. Now we still have a busy Saturday, okay? Because that's our Sun-Venus contact, and the same day, Mercury trines Saturn. So it's back in Libra, wrapping it up post-shadow, trining Saturn in Aquarius. This is air signs, very mental, deep breath. It's also the same day that Saturn goes direct. So anytime planets are going retrograde or direct, they're standing still and beaming intense energy down to us. That's a little more intense than when it's moving. So it matters when they're leaning in that one spot for a minute and they hook up with other planets. This energy is good for deep thinking. You are sharp and your standards are high because you are in strategy mode. This is a more solitary energy, though, so communications with others may be hampered a bit. Basically because it's time for you to hold your own at some new level. Okay, deep breath. This is ease and grace. It's time to focus on the details that hold the big dream together, all the little things that make the grand vision work. Some folks respect that attention to detail, while others may consider it nitpicky. But it is what the energy supports at this time, so don't worry if others don't understand what you're going through. By the same token, you may also feel a little overwhelmed by the many little things that cannot be denied or delayed, and thus a sense of urgency to get it all done. Beware of a tendency toward pessimism, depression, or overwhelm. Try to stay focused on all the blessings that you do have and all that you have accomplished instead of what's still on the list of things to do in life. This energy is not intended to make you feel bad about all the things left yet to do, but encourage you to begin the necessary steps for manifesting your dreams. This energy just makes you focus on the practical side of manifesting. Clear the debris and begin to lay a new, clean, solid foundation beneath your goals. Saturn gets you present to the necessary steps, and Mercury helps you think clearly. Deep breath. And another way to say that is that Mercury's out of its retrograde, so you've changed your mind about certain things, and now you got to shift the reality a little bit to accommodate all that. Same day, Saturn direct in Aquarius until March 7th of 2023, when it will enter Pisces for the first time in 30 years. So 2020 to 2023 is Saturn's first time in Aquarius since 1990 to 93. And we've had our last retrograde before it begins to move into Pisces, 23 to 24, when we will all move into very new territory. It's a good idea to get clear on what you've learned in the last 2 years or so about your own reality, as well as the reality of the world, and define your own terms regarding the Aquarius house issues, if you want to get personal. Otherwise, we all can see how a certain reality and purpose has played out and run its course since 1990 to 93. On social collective levels, what have we learned? Saturn retrogrades every year, giving us a tremendous amount of stabilizing energy that you can direct consciously on your own behalf. Every year, Saturn asks us to clean up, clear out, and upgrade our reality in some department of life. You can look to any area of your life that requires you to upgrade and fortify because it has essentially run its natural course and is more or less worn out. But you can also look to your Aquarius house and see if the areas of life it represents also may require some much needed focus and dedication. Saturn often gets our attention by creating blockages and delays, pointing out weaknesses and oversights. And during its retrograde, there are reports of folks feeling like they are being held back by the elbows. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. A better use of Saturn's amazing energy is to slow down and check in with your personal base. How organized are you in general? Are you naturally focused and self-directed, or do you succeed more often when you have a structure? As it goes direct, it's time to develop or fortify your inner authority in order to make new choices and decisions on your own behalf with courage and confidence. Take time to organize your thoughts or create a plan or strategy for adjusting to the changes seemingly being forced on you at this time. Start with small, manageable goals because accomplishing them will also give you the momentum and fortitude to go after the bigger goals. It's time to release fear and doubt and redefine your reality on some level, if nothing else for the new year alone. Deep breath. So, the links are all up and ready for registration for our very special annual event called the Ancestral Souls Rising, when we honor the ancestors from all over the world, along with prayers, rituals, and ceremonies rooted in the African Yoruba tradition. We want to honor and elevate our DNA, affinity, and the long line of ancestors at this time. Priests and priestesses from around the world are going to share their altars and practices with us, and it's always deep, rich, fortifying, and transformative. We will all pray together each day for 9 days starting on October 31st, when we will have the opening prayer event, which will be a live streaming on YouTube. The channel for Ancestral Souls Rising is here. Then they will illuminate the 9 layers of the soul with a different pre-recorded video posted to their channel daily at 12 noon Eastern, which is 9 a.m. Pacific, starting on November 1st, and posting a different layer of the soul every day through November 8th. I believe registration is required in order to see these videos, but it is so worth the $21 donation, which I've also linked here because they share so much timely wisdom. Deep truths are revealed, and transformation is inevitable. You don't want to miss it. This is my absolute favorite time of the year. And so the opening prayer event is live on the 31st, live 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, which will be 9 a.m. to noon Pacific. So join us if you can, and check out all those links with the description and the registration and all that good stuff to see if you want to join us. And reach out with any questions along the way. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks for being part of my community. I hope you have a fantastic week. This is Kelly Beard of Karmic Tools signing off.